Hi folks, this video is more practice doing formal proofs. There's a pair of videos that go together. In those two proofs that we're going to do, this one and the next one, the conclusion is the same. We're going to prove that everything has property P. The premises are going to be very similar, but there's just one slight difference. They both have a negation around an existential. All that's different is what's on the inside. So this one is a disjunction inside, and then proof number 2 is going to be an arrow. So it's going to be it's like the Boolean definition of the conditional. It's going to be a conditional inside of here. And why I think this is super helpful is you'll see that the similarities between these proofs mean that the general structure of them is going to be the exact same. The only small difference is going to come in later on when we have to deal with these inner symbols. So you'll see that the similarities and the differences will become apparent in how these formal proofs with quantifiers work. Okay, this is only going to be valuable if you try to figure out how to do these things for yourselves. So pause your videos now and try to do this proof before we talk about the answer. Okay, let's talk about the answer. What do you notice when you think about doing this proof? The first thing I notice is my pattern in the premise is the annoying one. It's a negation around a quantifier. That's difficult to deal with, and I can't start applying rules to it like existential elim. So I got to look at what my conclusion is. Since this is a widescope universal, this is a lot like the basic proof of negation around an existential, where I just do a universal intro proof. We did this in the previous video. So you should have thought, okay, I'm going to assume an arbitrary name n, and I'm going to try to prove something down here. Of course, what ought you to try to prove down there? Well, you ought to try to prove P of n. So if it was mysterious to you why we assume not P of n on line 3, then you're not looking ahead at where you're going. You're not envisioning the end of the proof simultaneously with making new assumptions. Anytime you start a new assumption for a subproof, you should wonder how you're going to end that subproof, how you're going to get out of that subproof. So visualizing or just writing down P of n down here would have helped you see what to do next, why you would have assumed not P of n here. Otherwise, it's mysterious why that might be the thing to do. So because this is a reductio, why did I assume this on line 3? I want to end that subproof with a contradiction symbol. Again, that's going to help you see where you might be going. Because what that might remind you is this thing on line 3 has to contradict this thing on line 1. Otherwise, this proof just would not work because I have to be able to prove a contradiction symbol at the end of that subproof, which I started the reductio with. So then you're thinking, okay, how am I going to prove that contradiction symbol? Well, I know that I need to build this thing on line 1 from the inside. I know I need to get whatever is inside the scope of this negation symbol. So that's why I wrote this thing out here, EX in red, because this is exactly contradictory to line 1. If I could prove this thing, then I can justify my final line of the reductio subproof with contradiction intro. So this now gives me more information about where I'm going. What I now need to envision is, can I prove what's inside the scope of that existential? And this is where the light bulbs eventually will go off. Yes, I realize I can prove that thing, because if I have not P of n, I can just do disjunction intro in order to get something that I could then do existential intro on. So if you didn't see why we do disjunction intro on line 4, I myself could not have seen it if I didn't envision this stuff in line red, in red down here. It's hard to know what to do at this point unless you're already thinking about how you're going to get that contradiction symbol and thinking about building this thing on line 1 from the inside out and that kind of thought process. Now, once you've got here, it's just filling in the justifications to finish it off. That was an existential intro on the thing that I built. That gives me the contradiction with line 1 that I've been planning on. That helps the reductio that allows me to finally finish this universal intro proof. So this was proof one of one. There's another proof that goes with this that I suggest that you watch next. Okay, thanks.